live one here.
I have given a name to my pain, and it is Batman.
And disappear at will.
Batman. The critics call it spectacular, says Gannett Newspapers. Gene Shalit says Jack Nicholson is colossal. CBS TV says it's a terrific time at the movies. And Rolling Stone magazine declares it a triumph. You can't take your eyes off it. Where are you? I'm Batman. Critics rave Batman could be the movie of the decade. Rated PG-13. Now playing.
Batman, or Batman 89, was released in the United States on June 23rd, 1989, and the United Kingdom on August 11th, 1989. But before we get into that, let's have a look at what happened before its release. The late 1980s saw a phenomenon unlike anything before, Batmania. But this wasn't your parents' Batman, this was a darker, grittier take on the Caped Crusader, courtesy of director Tim Burton's 1989 film. Here's a dive into the hype that surrounded the iconic superhero movie. So coming up, we'll have old commercials, TV news articles from 1989, and some collaboration videos with friends from YouTube. I hope you enjoy this trip back in time.
Hello. Gotham Corner Store? Yes, we seem to be down to our last Diet Coke. A gentleman is on his way to pick some up. Just look for a black car. No, this black car will be rather difficult to miss. And by the way, the gentleman is usually in quite a rush.
Just for the taste of it, Diet Coke.
Keaton's casting initially caused an uproar. However, once audience saw him don the cowl, doubts vanished. Jack Nicholson's portrayal of the Joker was equally captivating, creating a villain as iconic as the hero.
Wait till they get a load of me.
A new movie from Warner Brothers coming out in June. Many hardcore fans are afraid he won't. They have been writing hundreds of letters to Warner Brothers since they found out about the man cast as Batman. The controversy is whether an actor like Michael Keaton, best known for roles like Mr. Mom and Beetlejuice, can pull off the part of the Caped Crusader.
I think that he's kind of a wimp.
It don't seem that it's right, you know, that you should have a smaller man playing as a Batman.
Well, I'd rather see Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I think Arnold Keaton would be good too.
He needs some muscles on him.
I would have liked to seen a sexier person, you know, more macho man.
So when Warner Brothers announced a $30 million Batman movie that would treat the Gotham City crime fighter right, hardcore fans were elated, until Michael Keaton was named to play the title role.
He's balding, he's short, he's not broad, he's just not there, he's not Batman.
But then this trailer started to play in movie theaters around the country. Theaters reported people coming in just to see the trailer. It shows a dark, serious movie and a tough-looking Caped Crusader.
Now I'm more willing to give it a try. I'm more willing to take a look at it.
Everyone connected with the movie at Warner Brothers refused our request for an interview on the controversy, but director Tim Burton has said he wanted a kind of everyman in the role, a real human being with psychological problems.
If I am wrong and Michael Keaton blows me away, I'll be the first to admit. You can come back here and say, hey, Bo, you were wrong, and I'll say, yes, I was. But I don't think you guys are going to be making any trips back to Cerritos.
In mid-January, Gary Franklin enjoyed a foggy day in London town, and one of the things he managed to do there was he managed to get behind the scenes of a movie that's going to be, he says, one of the real biggies in 1989, Batman. And now, holy sweeps, here's part one of his special report. Gary.
Well, yeah. Yes, Ann.
Yes, go.
You know, someday somebody's going to write a great book about the making of the movie Batman, which is due for release this summer. Just wrapped up shooting in England and is now in post-production. Michael Keaton as Batman Jack Nicholson as the Joker, Kim Basinger as a reporter who has a thing with both of the above, also Billy D. Williams and Jack Palance, and a budget of 30 mil plus. Extreme secrecy during the weeks of shooting at Pinewood Studios near London, creating all kinds of near-violent encounters with the irreverent British press. In any case, Channel 7 did get access to Batman Day at Pinewood several weeks ago, but not before getting stopped and snarled at by vicious guard dogs and on the Gotham City set, while the PR guy got the right passes rather than the wrong ones. And then I stood back and watched the great Jack Nicholson at work. Go.
Eckhart, think about the future. Eckhart, think about the future. Think about the future.
Now, Batman was there too. It was probably Michael Keaton, but he wouldn't talk, and who knows who was in that costume. Down below, I stood near the producer of Batman, shouted to Nicholson, if you had one real bullet to shoot, whom would you shoot, the critic or the producer? Don't know whether you heard me, but he laughed. Then there's the giant, elaborate Gotham City set there at Pinewood.
Well, the biggest problem we had, obviously, was the staging of Batman is a city, and we had to set the scene in a complete city, a total city, and a big city. It's
an American city?
Based on the concept of New York. If you imagine going back in time, maybe a couple of 100 years, and imagine New York, take a worst case of New York, and imagine that it had no planning permission and gone wrong, even worse than it might be considered to be already, yeah? And really beefed that up to a point of total brutalism. A place which has been run by gangsters, a place which has had no control. So we've gone to a sort of generic kind of architecture based on certain various styles of New York, but then just locked them together into an anomaly of a potpourri, really, of industrial style built into Victoriana, built into that's all different, all within one building.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Tomorrow, sports fans, Batman fans, and car nuts will visit the unbelievable Batmobile, which someone has called a Corvette on steroids.
Okay.
Yep, Paul, tonight we're going to take a close-up look at one of the most important stars of the new movie Batman, a film that also lists such people as Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton, who plays Batman, Kim Basinger, etc. A film with a $30 million budget. It's now being edited at Pinewood Studios just outside of London, England, amid continuing ultra-top secrecy. A Channel 7 eyewitness news crew based in London and I visited the Batman set several weeks ago, and, oh yes, that superstar. And car nuts like Paul Moyer will love this. Introducing, exclusively on Channel 7 News, eat your heart out, competitors, the Batmobile. How do you design and build a Batmobile?
Well, it's an interesting project, very daunting at the beginning. We wanted it to look very different to the other one. The other Batmobile that everybody knows. Anton First, who's the designer on the film, came up with the illustration for it and says, Terry, here, have a go. And first of all, our first thing was to try and buy a chassis and build it on a chassis, which was a Chevy 350. And then we stretched it, we made it much longer. It's about 23 feet long, it's about 8 feet wide, which is...
This actually runs, right?
Oh yeah, sure. We haven't had a top speed of it, but we reckon it's pretty fast.
It's got a real engine in it?
Oh yes, it's a Chevy 350. It's got a special paint finish. We decided what we wanted to do to get it to not to be jet black. We wanted it to have a sort of a look like a Beetle, so it's sort of green and blue, and
also makes it easier to photograph at night.
Absolutely. And so we came up with this colour. It took a bit of getting to it, and this is the result.
And a very nice result it is too. I'm waiting for you to bring it to California so we can try it out on the freeways.
I think you might have more traffic jams than you do now with it.
By the way, inside that Batmobile, it's an airplane cockpit. It has gigantic tires. And how'd you like to try it, Paul? Batman, by the way, is due as a summer movie. Tomorrow we talk to Kim Basinger, same place, same station. Anyway, it's been a top-secret operation all along there at Pinewood Studios, just north of London, England. Gotham City, top secret. The Batmobile, top secret. Whatever may be on Michael Keaton's or Jack Nicholson's minds, top secret. Vicious guard dogs, secret deals for exclusive picture coverage with a national magazine, and the result, increasing public interest. Now, during the last week of shooting, a London-based Channel 7 eyewitness news crew and I did get on the Batman production folks to let us on the set. Batman started shooting last fall, wrapped in late January. It was a godsend for the Pinewood Studios, one of England's largest and oldest, about 20 miles from downtown London. Recent times have not been good for the British film industry. Most of the work is either for television or for American movies. The British economy is not in the greatest shape right now. The same goes for filmmaking. Conversation with Batman star Kim Basinger. It's wet, it's cold, it's the worst that Britain has to offer. How does that feel for you to work in conditions like these?
Well, welcome to London, Gary. We've actually, it hasn't been bad. The month of December we had to shoot night shooting, and that was pretty tough on us, 3 or 4 nights. But we've been actually lucky. It's been 56, 60 degrees, you know, at night. That's very rare for London. The gray gets to you. Yeah, the gray skies get to you, but the rain's okay for the first couple of weeks. Then psychologically you start itching, you know. In California, I'm ready to go home. I really am ready.
The man lucky and skilled enough to get to direct this expensive power cast is a California product.
I came out of art school animation. I was an animator at Disney for a while. Yeah, I went to Cal Arts and then was an animator at Disney for a brief time.
You should pardon the expression, but how do you relate to Batman in all this?
How do I relate to him?
Do you
At first,
do you
not
and he have a
easily.
thing?
Yeah, me and him have a thing. The Joker and I have a thing. You know, this is actually a very strange piece, and in the words that Tim Burton, the director, put it, it's sort of like Phantom of the Opera of the 80s, and it's not just what people conceive the idea of Batman as being. It's not just the cartoon. It's not just that hero, that mythical guy. This is actually a very psychological drama with a lot of humor in it, and I'm between these guys, these big guys.
Batman's a summer movie for '89. Looks like a gooder. Oh, that Kim Basinger.
Would you stop? Just stop. But
You're not objective about her at all, are you?
You've tweaked our
No.
interest. Is she a nice person, Gary?
I think she is. She's always been nice to me.
You
I
wish.
mean, you know, reasonably nice.
In your dreams.
And now I speak to Oliver Harper about his experience with Batman in 1989. Well, let's start with Batman because you had to be 15 to watch it on VHS, and then, of course, 12 in the cinema, which a lot of people were very upset at the time. Children turned away from cinemas and tears.
I think it's probably wise to rate it at 12.
Yes,
you know, 12's fine, but it's not a PG movie. It's, you know, so 15 is a bit excessive, you know. But yeah, when it came out, because I got obviously British comics a lot bigger than the US ones, and it had the front cover had Batman the movie on it, like Michael Keaton's Batman. But in the comic itself, it didn't really have anything on the film, just a 2-page spread, which they often did sort of make you buy it. But on the back of that, it had, obviously because I wanted to see Batman, but in the back it had Karate Kid 3 advertised. And that was like, okay, this film's coming out, I want to see this. But everyone, you know, the advertisements for the film of Batman was, weirdly, there's no TV spot for Batman, the movie, in the UK, Tim Burton one. I've looked everywhere. All over adverts, you know, LWT, Central, Angular, you know, Channel 4, you know, from that period in August. There's nothing, which is weird for a film that was so big. There's no TV spot.
I don't know if they were getting so much free advertising on the news, because I remember seeing on the news and people have gone that crazy, round the block, biggest hit of the summer, and that was before it even came out. There's people queuing up days before.
Yeah. And there was obviously the film '89 had covered, I think, some of it. They did do like a TV show, like a making of, well, I think like a special on Batman, and it had a bit on obviously the history of Batman, and obviously some of the footage they shot, like go around Pinewood Studios, and it had that guy who did Whose Lines Anyway, like one of the guys who was on it on a TV show in the '80s, like reviewing movies.
Yeah,
and
so it's Saturday night at the movies.
Yeah, that's it. And he went to visit Pinewood, and I think everyone did. Everyone, like, you know, from America came over and filmed it. So it was, the hype was building up. And you know, if you're a bit, obviously, I was 7 years old, I wasn't seeing that much outside of like from 9 p.m. onwards, where they'd probably show more stuff. You know, I'll be in bed. It's like, but they did, you know, as you say, they probably got a lot of free advertising out of it, and the Prince album, you know, was pushing it heavily. So I don't think Warner's UK was like, no, we don't need to run the advertising. You know, everyone's doing it for us. But yeah, I had to wait till, because it came out, didn't it, on VHS, like really quickly.
Yeah, people complaining. Well, it was 4 months in America, so it was probably between 4 and 6 months. I think it came out because I'm trying to think now. Batman, June in America and August in the UK. So they probably both gearing up for the rental for Christmas time. That was still a kind of relatively short turnaround back then, because it would have to often be 6 months, you know, from US to UK. And
Bat t-shirts, Bat posters, Bat sneakers, Batmania is here. But will Batman bring them to the bijou? Is America dying to see yet another comic book character brought to the silver screen? In recent years, cartoon characters have had a mixed record at the box office. Superman soared, Popeye got sand in his face. So will Batman go zonk or zowie? Well, we'll know soon after next week's premiere. In the meantime, Bob Brown has another Hollywood caper making a film of the Caped Crusader.
At the beginning, I drew him as a vigilante, very mysterioso, dark and brooding.
We've grown up with Batman. He's a cultural hero. Not evil, but he's got that dark side to him. You could write 10 volumes on a character like this and still not get what he's about.
Fighting crime and rescuing the beautiful damsels in distress.
And he's still doing it for, you know, the betterment of man.
So it's very simple when you put all the ingredients together.
It's hard to imagine another comic book character who's been subjected to so many interpretations. And in Batman's 50th anniversary year, there's one more on the way.
Do it just to do it, but if it
and Tim Burton, only 29 years old when he was hired to direct the feature, came with a reputation for an offbeat way of seeing things, including the pressures of handling a shooting budget of more than $32 million.
You're never prepared until you've done one of these things.
Burton is one of the hottest young directors in Hollywood, a former Walt Disney animator whose approach, like Batman's, is decidedly out of the mainstream. For example, one of Burton's earliest films was this live-action short called Frankenweenie, about a little boy who brings his dog back to life.
You know, several mothers were dragging their children out of the theater. I don't know why, but, you know,
I just don't know what this means.
It means you don't have to go through housebreaking another dog. You know you haven't petted him yet?
It was a funny send-up of the Frankenstein stories, but the Disney studios decided not to release it. For Batman, the stakes have changed.
The funny thing about Batman is that I have this encyclopedia, and, you know, I tried to get a sense of the history of the character, and it just changed, you know, from decade to decade. It was not like...
One of the first things that Burton learned was that although Batman may be a comic book character, he's been analyzed and interpreted through several generations of fans.
We'll look into that explosion as Batman and Robin take over.
Over the years, there was the low-budget Batman from the 1940s Hollywood serials, who had to change in the back seat of a Batmobile that looked like it came off the lot at below sticker price. But when the generation that cheered these Saturday serials grew up and had its own kids, they would find a new interpretation of their hero just down the road.
To the Batpole.
In the 60s, Batman surfaced again as a campy kind of crusader. That offended those hardcore fans.
Sometimes I think people expect too much of us, Batman.
They have a right to expect it.
But it created a craze. This was an era when, as everyone did their own thing, It looked like a darker tomorrow might never come for the Caped Crusader. But in his new incarnation for the 80s generation, Batman is a complex hero of graphic novels, reflecting an era when crime has grown to create new levels of fear and frustration, and everyone seems to bend the rules, and Batman has had about as much as he can take. That's the image this generation of fans has in mind when they describe their Batman.
A dark hero. That's, I guess I call him, dark hero, in 2 words.
Break the rules a little bit, but still get away with it.
He's a big guy, you know. He's in the comic he's 6 foot 210, so he's a big guy.
Attention, Kmart shoppers.
That's why there was a controversy when actor Michael Keaton, who had previously worked with Burton in the film Beetlejuice, was cast to play Batman.
That is why I won't do 2 shows a night anymore, babe. I won't do. Well.
But Burton had his reasons.
Now, I had seen lots of actors who would fit probably a more physical image of Batman, but I just always had trouble, when I imagined them, putting on a bat suit. And Michael, you know, I just look at Michael and I could, you know, enough said, really, you know, I could see him putting on a bat suit.
Don't kill me! Don't kill me, man! What are you? I'm Batman.
The film's producers were concerned enough about fan response to rush a trailer into movie theaters far ahead of schedule. It worked so well that the trailer drew applause in theaters not only for Keaton, who looked convincing as an 80s-style Dark Knight, but also for the casting of Jack Nicholson as Batman's demented foe,
Me?
the Joker.
Wait till they get a load of me.
In addition, an expert whose interpretations couldn't be disputed was hired as a consultant to the film. He is Batman's creator, Bob Kane.
He doesn't have superpowers. So Batman could be you, and he could be Tom, Dick, or Harry. And I think therein lies the secret to the Crusader that probably in most of us, we all feel like fighting back, but we don't either have the inclination or the opportunity or the desire to. So Batman fights our battles for us.
But why does he fight them in such a bizarre costume? Kane says he was inspired to make his Crusader dress like a bat after seeing drawings by Leonardo da Vinci and putting that idea together with a strange character in another Hollywood film titled The Bat Whispers.
Third influence was Zorro. And I got all the swashbuckling daring do from the mark of Zorro. Had the dual identity, the bored playboy during the daytime, who fights against oppression at night as a crusader against all injustice. And he came out of a cave on a black horse tornado. Obviously, you see all the influences. Instead of the horse and the cave, I used the Batmobile.
And to lead the grotesque gallery of villains, Kane turned to another weird influence, a 1928 film titled The Man Who Laughs.
It's a story about a kid who had his face slashed into a ghastly smile by rival gypsies. So he grew up into a ghastly-looking character with this white face, this ghastly red lips. And that's where I got the Joker from.
When you see certain images, you know, like a little chemical is released in your brain. One image that comes to mind is the Joker character having a conversation with the corpse, which I quite like.
Maybe we ought to give him a couple of days to think it over. No?
It's funny, it's a bit scary, it's a bit, you know, it's a pleasant conversation, but it's with a blackened husk.
I'm glad you did.
In fact, much of the picture was designed around images and settings that in themselves became characters in the film. Burton wanted Gotham City to look as if hell had erupted from the sidewalks. And so here, on a carefully guarded lot at Pinewood Studios outside of London, was built a monumental essay in ugliness. The Gotham City set cost $2 million to build, and it's the size of a small amusement park, larger even than the Main Street area of Disneyland. But that's where the comparison stops. This view of an urban disaster area was cooked up for Burton by a graduate of London's Royal Academy of Art, Anton Furst, who created an architect's nightmare.
That was the intention, to maintain this completely bleak, miserable town and start as a background. So we were gone to sort of grey stone, brown stone, concrete. That was very much the finishes we were going for. And you can see...
We tried to imagine going back in New York 100 years and imagining how it might have developed had there been no city planning, had there been no authorities to control.
To heighten the nightmarish effect that Burton wanted, many of the buildings are based on real designs that don't mix. This boilerplate look by Japanese architect Shin Takamatsu wound up fronting Gotham City's museum. A cathedral by Spain's Antonio Gaudí was transplanted to a location off Gotham Square. And the works of American architect Louis Sullivan were mixed in along the avenues, dwarfed by massive steel footings.
I'm of a mind to make some mookie. Phone book.
This time it is to the big screen. Warner Brothers is spending millions to bring millionaire Bruce Wayne and his alter ego to life. Is this a gamble for the studio? Will Batman pay off? Will there be Bat hysteria? Sherry Claypool has this Bat update.
Don't kill me, man! What are you?
Batman.
Gotham City's finest is back. But don't look for the Caped Crusader at the same Bat time or same Bat channel. He's once again a movie star, and he's got a lot of stress on his Batwing. Estimates are that the final price tag for the Warner Brothers movie will be in the $30 to $50 million range.
I think that Warner Brothers has a great deal of its hopes for 1989 riding on Batman.
Batman does have its fans.
He has a lot of courage in him. He's pretty cool. He's one of my favorite heroes.
But are those fans a little younger than Warner Brothers would like?
For my kids, probably. Not for myself.
Marketing consultants say Warners will have to sell the movie. Batman alone isn't enough draw, but the star power will help.
Joker.
You've got Jack Nicholson, who I think is probably the consummate actor working in the business today. And you've got a young director named Tim Burton coming off Beetlejuice, and I think when you put all those elements together, you got a chance of having a pretty good movie.
But star power isn't a guarantee for a hit. Remember Ishtar? A bomb estimated to cost upwards of $40 million. It starred Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty.
This is some of our best work.
Unlike the TV series, which took a campy look at the dynamic duo, the movie promises to stick closer to the comic book version, which takes the Caped Crusader very seriously. This is an 80s Batman. Just look at how the Batmobile has changed. More is riding on the movie than just ticket sales. A huge merchandising effort is going on. There's the Batcave, the Batplane, the Joker doll. And what kid wouldn't want his own Batrobe after seeing this? The one thing missing from the Batman movie hype is Robin. The dynamic duo is now an uno.
Robin has lived 70. How much more did he want out of life?
The best-known Batman, Adam West, has a warning for Bat wannabes. Beware of typecasting.
When you wear a mask and funny tights, it gets a little frustrating from time to time, and I was turned down for a number of parts over the years, I feel, because of that.
Talk about fiendish plots. Oh well, Warner's is busy on a plot of its own, hoping for Batmania to strike at the hearts of all law-abiding citizens this summer.
It's coming out this summer. What do you think it's going to be like?
Oh, I can't wait. I love Michael Keaton. He's one of my favorite funny people. And I love Jack Nicholson, and I love the trailer. I love the whole thing. I'm ready to go.
Oh, it's going to be live, man. It's going to be live. I'm going to come see it.
The trailer was better than the movie we just saw.
How do you think Michael Keaton's going to be as Batman?
Sexy. Very sexy. Oh, he's just a gorgeous guy. He has, great legs and everything.
Michael Keaton's a great actor, so I'm really excited to see it.
What kind of Joker is Jack Nicholson going to be?
Nicholson, like I say, he's great all the time, so I think he is a Joker, so he's probably just going to play himself.
I mean, with Jack Nicholson in it, how can you go wrong? Especially his makeup, that's great, man.
Jack Nicholson is casted as the perfect Joker. Michael Keaton's adorable. And my husband will just be counting the minutes to see Kim Basinger.
But the only thing I could have changed about it was letting me play the babe.
Kim Basinger, yeah, I can see either you or Kim Basinger.
What she's got that I don't have?
Intense with how he comes swooping in on all these scenes in that car, man.
I like the Batmobile. Yeah? Why? I don't know, it's pretty cool. Yeah?
I love the Batmobile. It looks so cool. Yeah. I wish I could ride in it.
And what was your favorite part of the whole trailer?
When Michael Keaton comes in and says, "I'm Batman. I'm Batman."
Riding on all of this is a total investment, including the film budget and promotion and marketing costs, estimated at well over $40 million. A risk for Warner Brothers, the studio backing the film, a showcase for Burton, the former animator who is now being named by some critics as one of the young successors to the Steven Spielberg, George Lucas era. That's something he'd rather not think about.
It always makes me a bit uncomfortable because, you know, the movie's not done yet, and I just want to make sure it's good before I start going, thank you, everybody.
However, not much more information about the film has been forthcoming, as something of a gag order has been placed on the cast.
And I can't say a word because I'm sworn to secrecy.
I ain't talking.
So be sure to get your popcorn early so you don't miss the Batman trailer. It may be better than the movie that follows it. I'm Christopher Chisholm for Movie Time.
Here's Alucard with his take on Batman 89.
Tell me something, my friend. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? So I was 9 years old when this movie came out. At this point, the only Batman I ever knew was Adam West. So to me, Batman was campy and fun. Lo and behold, Tim Burton brought us the real Batman. Dark and brooding. My little 9-year-old self was over the moon with this new Batman. You know, I was already into monster movies and horror movies and the darker tones, and I loved all of that stuff. Now we had Batman doing it. Heck yeah. So yeah, I hadn't read the comics. I never was a real big comic book reader. Still not. I remember everybody hearing about Michael Keaton and going, Mr. Mom? Even I thought it was a little out there. Don't believe I had seen Beetlejuice by this point, but I was a Mr. Mom fan, so I knew who Michael Keaton was. I do remember going to the movie theater with my mom to go see it. And when Batman grabbed the guy on the roof and delivered the "I'm Batman," I was hooked. I love the differences between Adam West and Michael Keaton's Batman as well. West was kind of like a happy-go-lucky playboy bachelor, you know, while Michael Keaton was this sort of a loner, dark and brooding, you know, minus Alfred, of course. This movie has my favorite Batmobile. The artillery hidden from view and just pops out. The way the top opened, all of it, just so badass. The fight scenes were excellent. I particularly love the fight with the sword guy. Yeah, love that fight. And of course, you got to have a good bad guy, right? And Jack Nicholson, without a doubt, the best Joker ever. He was over the top. He was campy. He was kitschy. You know, just like the character should be. I personally thought he found the perfect balance to all of that. Of course, who doesn't remember some of these lines? You know, winged freak terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me. Or, where does he get those wonderful toys? I mean, this movie's endlessly quotable. And then not to mention the Danny Elfman soundtrack. Come on. Is it a perfect movie? No. I do have some issues with it. I don't care for the Knox character at all. He's really annoying. Some of the Bruce Wayne being a millionaire stuff, to me, was a little boring and unnecessary. Probably would have trimmed some of that. And of course, Alfred letting Vicky into the Batcave. Yeah, no. That would not have happened. Is it a fun movie? Yes. Despite the darker nature of the story, it still manages to be a blast. It's a blend of perfect casting with a director who wanted to bring those darker tones to these characters. And for my money, this is the best movie of 1989. And of course, I still have my VHS copy right here. And I have since bought it on every platform since. I have the DVD, I have the Blu-ray. I do not have the 4K. That will probably be remedied sometime soon.
Hold it right there. Let's see if you're really ready to watch this movie. Okay, popcorn? Check. Soft drink? Check. Warner Brothers ball cap? Aha! You can't watch a Warner Brothers movie without a Warner Brothers ball cap. Listen, Doc, what if they ordered a Warner Brothers ball cap so they had it next time? Well, here's all you have to do, folks. Just send for this.
A new Warner Brothers catalog.
Use it to order your Warner Brothers ball cap. And while you're at it, you can order stuff like T-shirts, posters, movie books, ties. That's neckties.
It's all in the catalog, which you can get now by dialing this 900 number.
So when you get a chance, call...
No, they have to call now. They can't watch the movie until they order their new catalog.
You're despicable.
Don't forget to call, folks.
Before 1989, Batman was largely associated with the campy Adam West TV series. Tim Burton's vision, inspired by the darker comics of the era, promised a more serious Gothic Batman. The shift was a gamble, with some fans skeptical of Michael Keaton, a comedic actor portraying the brooding hero.
Capes and action figures already on sale. Maybe it doesn't really matter whether the Batman movie's any good. But folks lined up in L.A. to be among the first to compare the 60s TV series with the late 80s extravaganza.
What do you guys think of Michael Keaton as Batman? Is he as good as Adam West?
Better, way better. Adam West. Adam West was not good.
Yeah, I don't know about Adam West. With his tights on and everything. I don't know about Adam West.
I was a Batman fan from TV and the comics, and it was a lot different than I expected. It was funnier than I expected. A little disappointing. Because I guess if you're growing up watching the comics and reading comics and watching the TV show, it's a lot different than I expected. I thought it would be, it was a little corny. I thought it would be a little less corny.
Fans of Philadelphia can line up for Batman dues. Guys who wouldn't be caught dead in Batman tights or jammies can sport the telltale bat on the back of their heads. A judge ruled a Chicago man went too far masquerading as the Cape Crusader. The judge said Ron Rooting may not parachute in public wearing his Batman suit. The judge said the jump would violate Warner Brothers' copyright on the Bat character. Rooting must be content to wear his Bat suit in seclusion.
Batman is an entertaining eyeful. Director Tim Burton and his top-notch production crew have created a series of incredible images. Unfortunately, though, a lot of the on-screen sizzle ends up having less impact than it should. No, the problem is not in the stars, it's in the script. Michael Keaton was an unconventional choice to play the title role, but he acquits himself very effectively in a badly underwritten part. Keaton hints at the disturbing kinks and potentially dangerous quirks in his character, but too much of his motivation is left sketchy and shadowed. Just the opposite is true of Jack Nicholson, who steps into the psychological spotlight as Batman's arch-enemy, the Joker. Nicholson uncorks a magnificent, maniacal performance. He blows everybody off the screen. Nicholson is the bad guy, but the movie stacks the deck in his favor. The result seems as unbalanced as the killer clown he plays. This movie is a morality play that doesn't live up to its potential, but for all its flaws, it's illuminated by many moments of brilliance, and they make Batman well worth seeing.
My story for Batman 89 is a typical one. I was 16, so at least old enough to watch it, because it was a 15 in the UK, and remember the news stories on TV of the hype in America as it was released there first. Films back then were not mentioned on the news, so this one had to be special. I bought Empire magazine, which was only in its second issue, and after reading it, I cut out all the Batman pics and stuck them on my bedroom wall, which was already a collage of posters and clippings. Then, on Friday, the 11th of August, there was a full-page ad for the film in the newspaper saying Batman was now showing in cinemas. Luckily, I had a friend from London who was on holiday in Wales that summer, and his mum agreed to take us to see it. Back then, you had to phone the cinemas to get the showing times and listen to a recording to find them out. It turns out the nearest cinema showing it was in Llanelli, which is over an hour's drive away. I remember we got there an hour early, and we were close to the front of the queue, which was lucky. As it got closer to the cinema's opening, the queue went far down the street. So there were probably a lot of upset people who wouldn't be able to get in to see it on that showing. I was there in my Batman Converse trainers, which I was quite embarrassed about, as they were fluorescent colours and people noticed. But never mind, I don't remember much more, apart from I love the film, and I still do now. And now back to Lou in the studio.
Well, it didn't take the summer solstice to make people go batty in Los Angeles. The premiere of the movie Batman did that job. It took 10 years for the movie to reach the silver screen, and it looks like it struck gold. Dennis Michael reports.
The crowd started gathering over the weekend in anticipation of a movie premiere so big it had to be held in 2 theaters. By the time the limousines began to arrive, the crowds filled the streets of Westwood Village. Warner Brothers offered a few hundred free tickets to the first hopefuls in line. Despite their get-up, the 36-hour wait at the head of the line was no joke.
We're being squished to death up here instead of being mashed to death back there.
There's no other way of putting it. This evening, Los Angeles has gone bats. Rank-and-file Batmaniacs were there by the thousands, but they weren't the only ones swept up in the excitement. Some of Hollywood's biggest stars turned out for the premiere, giving the event the glitter of vintage Tinseltown. Attendees included Sylvester Stallone, Eddie Murphy, Don Johnson with Melanie Griffith, Glenn Close, and dozens of other top-flight celebrities. Peter Guber, co-executive producer of Batman, was delighted with the turnout at the end of his 10-year effort to bring the Caped Crusader to the screen.
It's finally here. It's just beyond words. I mean, a lot of great films we've done, but this is like a life experience. I'm thrilled.
How does this feel?
Pretty damn good.
Feels great!
The crowd's biggest welcome came for fast-moving Michael Keaton, who plays the title role in Batman. Keaton's casting as the Dark Knight was the most controversial aspect of the film's production, but those concerns seem to be over.
Are you among those who are concerned about Michael Keaton playing Batman? At first I was, and now I think it'll be great.
What changed your mind?
The previous.
I think Michael Keaton will far surpass what you expect. It's going to be the new Batman, the new wave Batman of the 90s.
Wait till they get a load of me.
The crowd did wait to get a look at Jack Nicholson, who plays the scene-stealing Joker in Batman. He was expected to helicopter in from the set of The Two Jakes, the sequel to Chinatown, in which he is the lead actor and director. But despite the bat signals, he arrived halfway through the movie after all the cameras and most of the crowd had already gone back to their caves.
Teresa Lucanis joins us live from the Americana Theaters in Southfield with a sneak peek at what many predict will be the film sensation of the summer. Teresa?
Dana, I think the marquee says it all for Bat fans. Finally, Batman the movie is here. This is the film they have been waiting for. And tonight's special showing at the Americana at 10 o'clock was a sellout. The Caped Crusader has inspired one of the hottest new looks in t-shirts these days, and Bat fans certainly dressed the part tonight as they lined up early to be among the first to see their heroes return.
10 o'clock the tube for Batman. Are all those people waiting now? You're kidding.
You see, Batman and a lot of these folks go way back.
But this is an old shirt. It's not one of the new ones. We got this years ago, so we're old Batman fans.
Batmania this summer. Everyone wants to see this movie.
Probably because we grew up with Batman and we're all familiar with it, and it's good to see a hero come back and, and save the day.
But Michael Keaton as Batman shares star billing with Jack Nicholson, whose Joker is really wild.
He just reflects, he is the Joker. They had to have him in mind when they made the movie.
And Warner Brothers is banking on the fact that the movie will only whet the appetites of real Bataholics. They've come out with mugs and a whole catalog of Batman memorabilia. In fact, there is even a 1-800-BATMAN number in here to get your merchandise to you faster. And some of these people are not just Bat fans, they're Bat fanatics. Excuse me, what would ever possess you to do that to your hair?
I love Batman, I would be Batman if they let me. I'd be Batman if I had a cape. I'd be Batman, yes.
Yes, folks love Batman, and I'll tell you, already people are lining up to buy tickets to the special 12:20 showing of Batman this morning at the Americana. There are 8 showings daily, as you can see here at the Americana, so I guess Bat fans don't have to settle for the same Bat time or even the same Bat theater starting tomorrow. Reporting live from the Americana in Southfield, Teresa Lucanis, TV2 Eyewitness News.
Teresa, we understand the show really opens tomorrow night, full-blown opening Friday night, right?
Correct. Tomorrow is the official opening. Tonight was kind of the sneak peek.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa.
The man with the pointy ears and the black rubber suit drew a crowd of at least 8,000 in Los Angeles last night as Batman the movie finally premiered. Is the hype over, or has it just begun? Dale Harimoto reports.
An entire city block was cordoned off to hold the fans, and it took 2 theaters to hold everybody who had been invited to the premiere. And for those who weren't invited, the show outside was almost as exciting as the show inside.
I love Batman, and I loved everything. I like the car. I'm really excited to see the movie.
I hope it's a good movie. I've heard a lot about it, and it sounds a little darker than what I think a lot of people are expecting.
This is like coming back to my childhood.
Batman star Michael Keaton flew through the crowd of Batfans, some of whom had been waiting for hours just to catch a glimpse of him. The premiere party was supposed to be held here on the streets of Westwood with elaborate plans to recreate Gotham City, but Warner Brothers got nervous about security and decided to donate the money to charity instead. But it looks like a party, and it feels like a party. Is this a party? Yeah! It's a party! Judging from the crowd's reaction, this may be the summer's longest party.
Michael's excellent. Excellent. I mean, it's Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton together, but it's some great performances, though. Oh, I loved it. Yeah, great action.
I thought it was great. It was action-packed. I wasn't bored for a second. I loved it. I really loved it. Michael Keaton is wonderful. Great. Of course, Jack Nicholson was brilliant.
I thought they were both great.
But it was what the die-hard fans thought that really mattered.
That was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And my man Jack was great. I loved it. I thought it was great. Nicholson was just incredible. It was perfect. Hey, I've been reading comic books since I was 6 years old. They couldn't have done this movie any better. It's great. I love this movie. I'm going to see it over and over again.
Now over to Greg at Fanzine for his report on Batman 89.
When Batman came out in 1989, I was but a wee child. But I think I was at that right age where I could tell it was going to be something special. You know, I had just started to become very aware of movies and entertainment, and I had seen Superman the movie, which has become one of my all-time favorite movies. I've always been much more of a Superman fan than a Batman fan because I saw Superman the movie first, and I just was enamored by it. But I had also seen the Adam West Batman TV series, and when I started to see TV spots, you know, Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton, Batman, it's a new version of Batman, Tim Burton. I saw that on TV, and I could, you know, something in you is like, this movie looks awesome. This looks great. And you could see that there was some kind of a build-up, some kind of something special about this movie at that time. You know, I was noticing it. You know, I may not have been too aware of it, but I was noticing it because I was seeing it on TV. I was seeing it on commercials. I was seeing it in interviews. I was seeing it marketed. And I was just like, I have to see this movie because it was something special. Indeed, it was something special. So, of course, my parents took me and my brothers to the theater. And I remember going to the theater, and the theater was packed. I mean, this was a theater-going experience. It's something that you just don't get today. It really is. I mean, the theater was packed. The parking lot was full. It was hard to find a seat. But, you know, you're sitting there, you got that popcorn, and you're ready. Then Batman music hits, and, like, I can still vividly remember seeing, like, the opening scene when the guy's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Batman." I remember that. I do vividly remember seeing the scene when after Jack Nicholson, the Joker, falls into the vat of acid, and he's at the doctor. He's like, "Mirror, mirror," and he starts laughing. He breaks the mirror and stuff. That scene has always stuck out in my head. And then, of course, when it gets to the final battle of the movie, that really, like, as a kid, when you're seeing that and you're seeing these balloons and he's going up the bell tower and he's fighting the ninjas and stuff. The one guy's like a ninja and stuff. And it's just like, it was like, just like captivating. And then, of course, Kim Basinger, I mean, that's when you start noticing women, you know, she was hot. And so, yeah, I came away from that movie really, really enjoying Batman 1989. It's still by far one of my favorite Batman movies. And, you know, as a Superman fan, I would rank the Batman 1989 right up there with Superman the movie. It was truly something special, something different, something magical at that point in time. And I'm glad to have lived through it because, like I said, I was young. I'm not quite sure. I'm maybe 5-6 years old, but I knew there was something in the air. I knew there was something special about this movie, and I got to see it in theaters. I mean, in 1989, I got to see the movie in theaters, and that was amazing. I'm so glad I have. But yeah, there was definitely something in the air when Batman 1989 was released.
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
Batman's battle against crime never ends. And now you can bring the action home.
Batman, haha, you missed. Yeah, but I only missed once. You can't escape Joker. Just watch if you can. You won't be alone for long.
And in the Batcave.
No criminal can hide from Batman. Batman, gotta run to jail.
Each item sold separately from Sharon Toy.
And here's our exclusive first look at the $17 Batmobile, the $25 Batcave, and the $20 Batwing.
It's not reinventing the wheel. It's taking something that's proven, it's been successful, adding new features to it and updating it, and having Batman of the 90s. That's exciting.
Toy Biz was one of the companies that released a line of action figures to coincide with the release of Tim Burton's 1989 Batman film. Their line was notable for being the first ever live-action Batman figures. The figures were rather simple by today's standards, with only 6 points of articulation: knees, hips and shoulders. However, they captured the likeness of Michael Keaton's Batman quite well, and also included some fun accessories, like a batarang and a grappling hook for Batman, and a squirting flower for the Joker. Other figures in the line included the Joker and a generic henchman named Bob the Goon. Toy Biz also released a Batmobile toy and a Batcave playset. The 1989 Toy Biz Batman figures are considered to be highly collectible today and can fetch a high price on the secondary market. If you're a fan of Tim Burton's Batman or of action figures in general, they are definitely worth tracking down.
Bat freak Joe Desris, a 32-year-old ad agency owner, has been collecting Bat memorabilia for 23 years, spending over $100,000. He says he's never had it so good.
Collecting in the early 80s was frustrating at times because there was no big push. But now with the new movie, there's a lot of stuff out there.
Now, a lot of these...
There's something new in Gotham City. Wow! It's Batman, like you've never seen him before.
Hey, Joker, a batarang surprise! Missed me. Time for a change. That disguise won't work, Joker. No, try this. So long, Batman. That's it. Wings out. Fire! You've got great new weapons, Batman. But I don't run out of tricks. You'll need them.
Batman, the Dark Knight Collection. Batman like you've never seen him before, each sold separately.
Well, Ms. Vale, another rooster in the henhouse.
Batman the video game is a platform game developed by Sunsoft for the NES, Game Boy, Sega Genesis, Mega Drive, and the PC Engine in 1990. The game contains 5 levels culminating in a showdown with the Joker in the bell tower of Gotham Cathedral. Ocean Software developed and published the game for the Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum, Amiga, Amstrad CPC, Atari ST, MS-DOS, and MSX, released on the 11th of September 1989. The game consists of 5 levels based on the events of the film. Each stage has a time limit and a health gauge, represented by Batman's face turning into the Joker's, with Batman losing a life if he runs out of either. Here is an example of the game on the NES.
Right now at Taco Bell, you can collect free Batman cups, like a free Batmobile cup. Or a free Batwing cup. 4 cups in all, free, with free refills and free cinnamon twists every time you buy a 32-ounce drink at Taco Bell. I want you to tell all your friends about me. I'm Batman.
And Batmania is already out of control. It's estimated Warner Brothers stands to make $250 million, not on the movie, but on the merchandising alone. More news later.
Another $50 on t-shirts, hats, and posters as you're walking out. That's right, movie merchandising is raking in the dough almost as fast as the movies themselves.
T-shirts, hats, posters, for sale, Indiana Jones.
Of course, the idea of movie merchandise is far from new. Felix the Cat was the first movie cartoon star back in the late teens and early 20s. They merchandised him like crazy.
What is new is the way merchandise is being sold. 2 studios have gone into the mail-order catalog business with great success. And several companies are selling their tie-in products right at the theaters where the pictures are playing.
I went through 350 shirts here in about 3 days of Batman shirts, not including pins, buttons, keychains.
It certainly seems as if merchandising is a can't-lose business, but it's not. No one knows if a film will flop until it opens, and if it bombs, so do its tie-ins. And even a hit is no guarantee of success. Roger Rabbit was a smash in theaters, but a flop in the toy stores. Apparently, people didn't find him lovable enough to want to take him home.
Generally, it is very rare when a movie-based property makes a tremendously successful toy line. I think we saw it with Star Wars. We saw quite a bit of it there, but generally, single movies in and of themselves have not generated hit toy lines.
Kenner's Ghostbusters line has been a rare exception, but the 5 years between movies have been filled in by a TV cartoon series, and that's kept the interest alive. So what's hot right now? We asked a woman who decides what to buy and promote at Macy's department store in New York City.
Right now, the I Love Lucy doll is very, very popular. So is Dorothy and the Tin Man, the Wizard of Oz characters.
Aha, oldies but goodies. In fact, The Wizard of Oz and another 1939 movie, Gone with the Wind, are enjoying greater merchandising success today than they did when they were first released 50 years ago. And speaking of 1930s movie stars,
your Shirley Temple doll comes all dressed up and just loves to have tea parties with her very own Shirley Temple tea set.
Shirley Temple, whose dolls made millions in the depths of the Depression and enjoyed a revival in the 50s and 60s when her films came to TV, is back in the doll business. Only now, limited editions sell for $90 apiece. And at the Shine Gallery in Los Angeles, where collectors pay hundreds, even thousands, for movie and cartoon character merchandise from the past, who's the hottest property?
Without a doubt, King of the Mountain is Mickey Mouse. Now, then, and probably forever. Followed by the other Disney characters, and then, of course, strong seconds are the other cartoon characters.
So it looks like the classic stars and characters are really the biggest hits, and that includes Batman. After all, he's not new, he's just making a comeback. And if you want to get a jump on the next big merchandising boom, well, start buying old Dick Tracy memorabilia right now. Because when Warren Beatty's new Dick Tracy movie comes out next year, it's going to give Batmania a run for its money. Leonard Maltin, Entertainment Tonight.
The experts say the way to collect for the future is to buy what everybody else isn't buying. If the t-shirts are selling and the ties are not, buy the ties because they will be scarce later on.
Warner Brothers didn't hold back on marketing. The now iconic Batman logo plastered on everything from toys to clothing. The teaser trailers, surrounded in mystery with Prince's electrifying music, sent shivers down spines. This wasn't just a movie, it was an event.
We're looking to sell anywhere from between 2 and 3 million posters.
Right now, Batman outsells similar items about 3 to 1, and the movie just makes it 10 to 1.
Nice outfit.
Every item imaginable, from buttons decorated with your favorite Batman characters to a blinding variety of posters. There will be computer games, along with the clothing to wear while playing them. The Bat has taken flight.
So there's a historical frame of reference that the parent knows, that the child knows, that the grandparent knows, with a whole new thrust because it's a whole new cast of characters, and I think familiarity brings sales, not contempt.
Wait till they get a load of me.
A big load. Converse is shipping more than 200,000 pairs of Joker and Batman tennis shoes to stores across the USA.
Batman is a very solid character. It's been around for 50 years. It's got a following among millions of loyal fans, both children and adults. And with the Batman movie, it was a very solid investment for Converse.
Of course, betting on Batmania could be risky business. The movie has plenty of competition this summer. There is another film, the Star Trek series coming out, and of course the long-awaited sequel to Ghostbusters.
Soon it will be wham, zap, boom, dad and mom are broke. Not only will the kids need movie tickets, they'll need extra money for Batman gear, from t-shirts to underwear. The megabuck merchandising of a movie is our inside story for today. boy box office Batman, your fans are excited about the new feature-length Batman movie coming out this June.
Bossed you 10 times.
I love Batman. I've always had a crush on him ever since I was a little girl.
For a while I am a superhero. Bat fans are hooked on their hero, plunking down their bat bucks for any bat stuff they can get their hands on. It's all in anticipation of Batman opening at the box office in a boffo way.
I know a lot of people are still into Batman now, and to see it on the big screen would be even better. I've been a fan of Batman since I've been out of diaper.
The Bat cast of the movie is a stellar one. Michael Keaton, Kim Basinger, and Jack Nicholson.
You can call me Joker.
And the movie makers aren't the only ones who hope to cash in on the popularity of this caped wonder.
I'm in business to make money, and we expect to make a lot of money selling Batman merchandise and making a lot of people happy.
Alfred, let's go shopping.
You really need to be a superhero.
Right now, we have about 26 different kinds of T-shirts.
Nice outfit.
The buttons have started to hit, and they're very popular now. We're expecting in Batman boxer shorts next week. There's an alarm clock with a bat signal that goes like this. There's pens where Batman chases the Joker through some fluid.
Now, a lot of these Bat fans were first introduced to their square-jawed champion of justice in 1966 with the Batman TV series.
On the series, it was great. You know, the pow and then the stars.
Bam, boom. The movie won't try to be quite so camp. The producers hope to explore the deeper psychological nuances that make Batman tick.
You remember that old saying, flying like a bat out of, well, you know the saying. Well, that's the way people are flocking to retail outlets to get their share of Batmania.
Now, what do you think?
Retailers think it's wonderful, and they've pulled out all the Bat stops. Bat shoes, Bat towels, Bat shirts, Bat mugs, and none of the Bat goods are hanging around.
Well, like the Joker T-shirt, I wish I had one here to show you, but obviously we've had a couple of orders of those come in. They're gone. The hats are gone. I mean, it's just certain items that just continue to go.
More than 100 companies have been licensed to sell the Caped Crusader, not the movie, but the merchandise. Even his royal purple badness, Prince, has come out with the soundtrack. More hype for a movie that hasn't quite left the Batcave yet.
I think it's going to be rad.
Really? What's rad?
Radical.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. And kids aren't the only ones experiencing holy cow syndrome. The older generation has been keeping this McKinney Avenue Bat Gallery pretty busy. Old movie marquees, Batman miniatures, buttons, and yes, comic books are going like Batcakes.
Batman's become hip and cool, and people can come out of the closet and admit that they read Batman and that comics are in vogue now.
Theater employees will probably clean up in overtime this weekend. People have been trying to buy tickets now since early this morning. So as the fever builds, Batman is already in the bag, retailers say, and if the movie's a hit or not may not even matter.
Here's what Pugwell316 has to say about Batman 89.
Tim Burton's Batman, or Batman 89 as a lot of people call it now. I'm Matt from Pugwell316 channel, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about my history with Batman, my love of Batman, and share a few things with you. So, you know, people go, this is my Batman. Well, for me, it's always been difficult because Adam West and Michael Keaton are both my Batman. I have just as much love for those two incarnations of Batman as I do, you know, for any other. They are really part of my childhood, from watching on television to possibly Batman 89 more cinema experience. So I love comics, and my first ever comic that I bought was a World's Finest comic, Superman and Batman. I bought it for 35p, which was more than my spending money at the time, in 1984. As you can see here it is. This is the same one. Very rare that I actually have things that from when I was a kid, and I kept them. I love this one. There was like a new character in it called Sonic. It was like a kind of guy who worked in a youth club who was getting bullied, I think. Yeah. It's I read it so many times. I do know that for that. I'm pretending that I don't know anything about it, but I know loads. It is what kind of got me into the idea of Batman not necessarily just being Adam West. So the Michael Keaton Batman is probably, I think, the most iconic branding and promotion. I just remember going on holiday caravan park when I was a kid, and every kid wearing the black Batman t-shirts. The first time I saw like a kind of mass movie experience where everyone wanted this t-shirt, even before the film came out. So there's a picture of me there when I was a kid and my mum. So happy to have that t-shirt. It was just everywhere. I think I even have a version of it now somewhere. And it felt like you were part of a thing, like a movement. I'm pretty sure I had that before the movie came out. And even things like the VHS of the VHS here, it's just an incredible... Oh, it's upside down. It's just incredible poster, incredible to look at. It's a little work of art, this. The yellow box as well. This one I bought... This is from Wales, but I don't remember when I got this. I know it wasn't mine originally. And even things like these little cars from Batman Returns and things like that. You know, I've kind of collected without knowing I was collecting. Mainly the things I had were the comics. And the big turning point for me was the Frank Miller ones. Now, I was a bit disappointed when... and here's a great figure of the Frank Miller Batman. Was that I never got to see Michael Keaton or Kevin Conroy play that character on screen. I was disappointed when I saw the new Flash, with Michael Keaton. I watched it because I was just so excited to see him come back, but it felt so half-hearted and lackluster. Things I would recommend as well for people who want to read comics about Batman the Nightfall series with Bane. That was really good. Batman Beyond from the television series, which is actually really good as well, cartoon. The Kevin Smith ones, Cacophony, The Widening Gaia are very good. Batman vs. Dracula, very good. This kind of noir one here, which is really, really good as well. Bruce Wayne, Murderer. But the actual, let's go back to this. Let's go back to why it's so good. I mean, the cast's amazing. Even Jack Palance isn't the main bad guy in this. We're talking, you think, standard mobster Jack Palance. And then it goes, boom, you've got Jack Nicholson, who just destroys in this film. He's so good. It's just an incredible performance. I can quote it maybe because I've got Prince Bat Dance somewhere and there's clips all the way through it. So if you're of the same age as me, you'll be going, "Stop the press, who's that? Vicky Vale." And you'll be doing all the things, all the little quotes from the Joker that go through it all through Bat Dance. And that, to be fair, Prince Bat Dance album's really good as well. I only had the single, 200 Balloons and all that on it. It just comes together perfectly. It's got the aesthetic of Tim Burton, but it appeals to kids. It's cool. It appeals to adults. It has Kim Basinger in it. Wow. It even has Billy D. Williams in it. So come on. Yeah. So this, and it all comes in 121 minutes. People need to take note. So yeah, that's my experience. I absolutely love Batman 89, and thanks for letting me do this video, because I will talk your ear off about Batman. Really enjoyed going back through the archives, the Pugwall archives, looking for these things. So yeah, thanks.
You want to take that large one?
Yeah. Retailers selling Batman paraphernalia say there's a rat in the Batcave. They say a counterfeiter or counterfeiters are trying to sell non-sanctioned Bat gear to store owners.
He said that he had a shipment of, thousands of shirts coming into him from New York.
Merchant Guy Steele is just about the purest of the purist when it comes to hawking Bat gear. He turned the counterfeiter down cold. Now, some of you might be saying, really, what's the point whether or not this is the good stuff or not? Well, the point is, in a few years, all this Bat paraphernalia could become collector's items, but only if it's the good stuff. Ever since Batman paraphernalia first took off all those years ago, DC Comics has held on to the merchandising rights. Now that they've hit pay dirt again, they're not about to let a bunch of jokers rip them off. Warner Communications, which owns DC Comics, has alerted federal authorities to be on the lookout for the counterfeiters.
You want that one?
Yeah. Bat fans say if they come across the fake Bat stuff, they won't touch it with a 10-foot bat pole. Would you buy any counterfeit Batman products?
Not if I knew it was counterfeit.
You wouldn't?
No.
Why not? Might be cheaper.
Nah. I'd rather have the original.
Now look closely. This is what the original Bat gear looks like. Retailers say the counterfeiters version, though, might include eyes and maybe a shorter wingspan.
When hearing the sounds of cash registers ringing for their big summer release of Batman. Not by a long shot. Movie Time sent our roving corresponding reporter Christopher Chisholm out, and he found several merchandising maniacs who just can't wait to start counting the profits. The Masked Man isn't going to be just in the theaters. He's going to be everywhere. Chiz will tell you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christopher Chisholm for Movie Time, standing in front of the Golden Apple, which is a famous comic book store here in Los Angeles, and also the Batman headquarters for the summer of 1989.
We've been establishing ourselves as Batman headquarters for Los Angeles, and we have a complete array of merchandise. We deal with the suppliers directly. We tend to get in stuff as soon as it's released. We right now have 26 different kinds of T-shirts. We have posters, we have buttons, pins, candy dispensers, hats. As soon as it comes out, we have it. Right now, we probably have maybe 50 or 60 different kinds of things. Of course, there's the comics, and there's been 600 issues of Detective Comics, and there's a Batman comic. There's a lot of different special comics, graphic novels, things like that.
I see you have a lot of Batman displays out right now.
Sure. Well, as Batman headquarters, we're celebrating Batman's 50th anniversary this month. We have a full display of Batman memorabilia that collectors have donated, with dolls and plates and phones and cowls and pictures and doormats and things from the past as like a precursor of what might be available in the future.
One of the hottest products promises to be a new Batman doll.
Our company manufactures dolls, and this is one of the products that we're doing currently right now. It's been one of the hottest licenses that we've had in the last 6 years that the company has been around. It has just been incredible. The Batman, they figure, with the movie coming out in July, is just going to be the number one item.
In fact, according to the experts, the pre-movie release Batman merchandise will differ significantly from that offered after the movie is in theaters.
I think that the merchandise that we're seeing on Batman, the early T-shirts and memorabilia that they're releasing, reflects a generic Batman and is trying to appease people that like both the television show, the current comic book.
I think everybody has great affection for both the comic and the television show, and is very hopeful that the movie will be as good as the trailers. The trailers have been astounding successes, and people, I understand, have been going to other movies just to see the trailers, and people come in here going, wow, I saw the trailer, I saw the thing on television the other night, and it was terrific, and I can't wait to see the movie.
The people buying Batman merchandise range from casual buyers to serious collectors, and even a celebrity or two.
I happen to be a collector of old comic character buttons. I go back to the 1890s, the yellow kit, but I also try to keep up with what's currently on the market. I can see that they've just brought in a new shipment. This is probably the 30th or 40th different version of Batman button that's come out in the last couple of months. So that certainly is a very hot merchandising item. I can see that there are a lot of T-shirts. I see people all over the city walking around with Batman T-shirts. So unquestionably, they're doing a brisk business there too.
And that's it from the Batman headquarters of Los Angeles.
Oh, really? You don't know what's in there.
Heidi Lichtenstein and Jim Shaw just couldn't wait to open the big box from the big truck.
There it is.
Look at these bicycle shorts. Look, how cool.
And the duo is peddling the couture de Cape Crusader, operating their business on a Batwing and a share of the profits, as the hype heats up for the June 23rd release of the new Batman movie. Now, battalions of Bat fans are swooping down too, trading cash for the Flash or the cowled crime fighter.
You want to talk to me, Giselle? Okay. Should we do like this? Yeah, I like that. We have that one, but we also have the crop top. Yeah, let's see the crop top.
Nice outfit.
Everybody loves Batman, and so everybody loves the clothes.
At least one wasn't so sure, but he kept his pants on anyway. But another put her money where her zeal is.
Because I love Batman. He's cool.
And now we'll look at the merchandise that I own.
Merchandising, where the real money of the movie was being made, which is very true for Batman. So let's have a look at some of the merch I have. So first off, I have this double-sided car sticker, which is far too nice to use. But that's all it does. I heart Gotham City. Then we've got Bat Duck for bath time. And here's an old one, original Batman Parker pen set. Can't see any dates, but it looks old enough to be 89. I got the novelization, and I think I read this back in the day. But I do recommend the audiobook, which is narrated by Roddy McDowell. But one of the main things I wanted this for is the awesome pictures they have in this. And there we go. What do you got? What's this? A VHS from the US? No, it's a box for a t-shirt. But it is in the style of American VHS, which is why I like it. And I think it's a small t-shirt, so hence I'm not wearing it. Speaking of t-shirts, I got the lovely symbol on the Bat t-shirt. And you got a Bat mug, because you need a coffee. Now, I only have one toy, so that's why it's not in a separate section. So it's the old ERTL Batmobile, which is my favourite Batmobile. It's a good model. £10 at a Comic-Con, I believe I got that. Then we have this, which is a little scene with Batman and the Batmobile. But this came off a magazine where they were doing all the Batmobiles in like a monthly subscription magazine. I only got the first one because it was half price and it was my favourite. So. Got the comic book adaptation, which has advert for the film in America, but it's very well drawn. Does have a few differences. Where is it? After the fight with the Joker and they're hanging, they swing, they fall, and it's Knox who's under the Batcape after they land on Batman and sulks away into the night. We've got a giant poster souvenir. Number 3. I only have one or two of these. I won't open up because it's far too long, but yeah, you get lots of making ofs, etc. Then an official souvenir magazine, behind the scenes, photos, etc. A role-playing game. But yeah, it's got a poster, it's got pictures, it's got merch you can buy. So, oh look, there's my t-shirt. And also I have the Batman official book of the movie, which £4.95 back in the day. So about the old making of, up to details on the Batmobile and how they created the city. So got that. A few more things. We have the second series of collector's cards. Oop. And of course they don't fit anymore, but they range from Batmobiles, weapons, and yeah, everything you could want. So these are the bonus cards. Abs. So got that. And finally, I think it's finally, yes, we have a box of bubblegum card stickers. Now, yeah, Joker and yeah, Batman. They still have the gum in them because at the moment it's not affecting the cards, but there was one open somewhere, but I probably had one. But there we go. Big fan.
The adventure continues. Now with Batman, the serial. And nothing can slow him down. Nothing can stop him from bringing it to you. It's here. A smashing taste. A honey-nut-flavored part of your complete breakfast. Batman cereal.
Batman was the 11th studio album by American recording artist Prince, and the soundtrack album to the 1989 film Batman. It was released on June 20th, 1989 by Warner Brothers Records. As a Warner Brothers stablemate, Prince's involvement in the soundtrack was designed to leverage the media company's contract-bound talent, as well as fulfill the artist's need for a commercial revival. The result was yet another multi-platinum successful cross-media enterprise by Warner Brothers in the vein of Purple Rain. The album stayed at number 1 on the Billboard 200 for 6 consecutive weeks, being his first number 1 album since Around the World in a Day, while its lead single, Bat Dance, became his first number 1 since Kiss. It is a certified double platinum by the RIAA. Batman, the original motion picture score, is the score album to the 1989 film Batman by Danny Elfman. According to the Batman DVD Special Edition, Elfman said that producer John Peters were not sure about him as a composer until Tim Burton made him play the main titles. Elfman admitted he was stunned when Peters announced that the score would be released on its own album. The score was widely acclaimed by the press and in many contemporary reviews is cited as a highlight of the film. It was released on May 1989 by Warner Brothers Records.
In this London recording studio a few weeks ago, musicians were adding the final notes to Batman, the movie. For a summer full of blockbusters, an expensive project with an unusual group of collaborators.
So we got boom, boom, boom. Let's add our splash.
Danny Elfman, a star with an 8-man rock group called Oingo Boingo, composed a score for a 110-member symphony orchestra. Another rock artist, Prince, wrote songs for some of the scenes.
When I went down there to see Gotham City when they were shooting, I started to get ideas. Tim had mentioned a little gothic, a little bit operatic.
Burton turned to composer and rock artist Danny Elfman for one of the final touches. Video cassettes of scenes for Elfman were delivered to his home studio in California, where they were synchronized with a computer as Elfman laid out the score.
Okay, I'm going to switch back and play the real thing for you.
Okay. Passenger is Vicky Vale, played by Kim Basinger.
Vicky's wondering, who is this guy? She doesn't know. She's always trying to look at his face. So he turns on the light in her eyes that she can't see. As you can see, it's a lot of fun dealing with very legitimate and classical styles in one moment and then getting completely over the top in the next moment. It's almost like going back to an old film style. That real basic, old-fashioned style, hero, saving the day type of music. It's fun working in a theme that doesn't really have an era to it. This could have been from 1942 or something like that, just as easily.
And now I'll have a look at the vinyls I have for Batman 89.
And of course the soundtrack. I was a big fan of the Prince Bat Dance when it first came out. I'm not as much as a fan anymore. That's not too bad because I enjoy it mostly because it's got sound clips of the film in it. So I had the Batman album originally on cassette and now I have it on vinyl. But as you can see, it's only got 9 songs. All by Prince. I think he made more of them, but they only released this many. This is a re-release, but it still has the photos on the sleeve and lyrics if you want to know them. But my preferred listening is, of course, the Danny Elfman score, and plenty of tracks on this one. It's so iconic, they still use it in Batman films today, or Justice League films. So yeah, this is an original release. There we go.
Wrap up the holidays with the perfect gift.
Give them what they want. The movie of the decade.
Who's this guy?
The smash hit of the season.
I'm Batman. Can somebody tell me what kind of world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press?
Batman on video cassette. The gift you want to give. The gift they want to get. Specially priced at stores everywhere.
In an unprecedented move at the time, it was made available to buy on VHS in the United States on November 15th, 1989, less than 6 months after its theatrical release, at a suggested retail price for only $24.95, although most sellers sold it for less. It was first released in the UK on rental on the 6th of April 1990. It was then re-released on sell-through on the 15th of October 1990.
Last seen, the high-tech remote-control sedan was rolling down Sunset Boulevard. The driver of the car is described as a man of average height in grotesque clown makeup. Police have narrowed it down to either the Joker or Ronald McDonald. Commissioner Gordon had no comment.
To discourage rentals and encourage people to buy Batman and take his cartoon craziness home for keeps.
What are you?
I'm Batman. Batman is the earliest video release for a major movie yet, reaching the stores only 4 months after its theatrical debut, and upsetting many of the country's smaller theater chain operators who are still playing Batman on the big screen.
We were concerned and that we were, disappointed that they did move up the release window on Batman.
The ill will with some theater owners was obviously a calculated risk, taken with bigger stakes in mind, namely cashing in on the Christmas gift market by presenting the Batman cassette as an ideal stocking stuffer, all in hopes that E.T.'s all-time home video record of 15 million copies sold will be broken by the Caped Crusader and his arch-enemy with the nasty laugh.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Now, the early cassette release may give Batman a chance to break E.T.'s home video sales record.
Whatever happened to Batboy and whatever the heck, or whatever the kid was called? Oh, he's up for the presidency of Warner Brothers? Huh. Okay, anyway, earlier tonight, it was a lot more exciting here. They had a Batmobile, the one I saw when they shot the movie near London, England in January. Lots of hoopla, as tens of thousands of Batman tapes are shipped out. 3,500 in this store alone. At the Music Plus chain, they're shipping 50,000 Batman tapes. Now, whether that'll be enough to carry them through, who knows? It may not be enough. There may be a rush, or people may have had their fill of it.
So now we'll have a look at the film on my physical media collection.
Now we get to the VHS release. This is the X-Rental that came out in 1990. And every shop had many copies of this because they knew it'd be a winner. So it's got a nice yellow box and even little reels inside. They're yellow, which makes it nice. And then there was the retail release, which is, I think, exactly the same. Yeah, just smaller. That. And I got two other releases that are a bit slightly different. So this one has a different cover. Nicholson Keaton, Batman in gold instead of the usual logo. Bit fades on the side, but it's 30 years old at least. And then we got this version, which is exactly the same as that one, but it seems to be missing the gold in the print. So we got that. Now, here's the DVD. Now, the Batman 89 was the first DVD I bought. It was the cardboard snapper case. But that's unfortunately no longer with us. So I've got this one instead. The movie of the decade, actually, American reviews on this one. Got that, and finally, the Blu-ray, of course. With lots of features and just a disc inside. So there we go. Batman on physical media.
Thank you, Batman. Thank you very much. Good luck. Sell those tapes. I know Goober, Peters, and Columbia need the money badly. Only $250 million so far the movie's made. Back to you in the studio.
So now here's Captain Adam with his take on Batmania 89.
Ahoy there, mates. Captain Adam here of Captain Adam's VHS Pirate Ship. When you hear the term summer blockbuster, I'm sure it conjures up all kinds of memories of movies that are non-stop action romps filled with adventure and flamboyant special effects. When it comes to summer blockbusters, many movies are on that list, but for me, one is clearly at the top, and that's Batman, which was released in U.S. theaters June 23rd, 1989, but wouldn't be released in UK theaters until August 18th of that same year. And the world would truly never be the same. Now, is that overdramatic to say? Yes! Yeah, maybe, but it is awfully true. I mean, think about it. Not only would it change how we looked at movies and what we expected from summer blockbusters, but it also changed how we viewed Batman. Because up until this film's release, Batman had been primarily represented and therefore viewed and perceived by the public as jovial, friendly, downright cheerful, basically a caped Boy Scout. And this lighthearted perception of Batman mainly comes from the 1966 television show. And that campy, friendly, and chatty rendition would go on to be the template for Batman for stuff like the Super Friends cartoon and his guest spots on Scooby-Doo. This was simply how the public viewed Batman, and that would all change with the release of this film. Batman was now dark and brooding, scary and serious, certainly not jovial, and you can kiss cheerful goodbye. The general public was sort of waylaid by this sudden personality shift in Batman, but to the comic book fan, this was really nothing new. In the Batman comic books prior to this film's release, Batman was already getting pretty dark and was often depicted as being very stern and basically a wet blanket. So at this time, the comic book fan was already privy to a darker version of Batman, but the general public was totally blindsided by such a grim portrayal of this familiar superhero. Yeah, Batman has always been one of those very well-known superheroes where you don't even have to read comic books to know exactly who he is. Much like Superman and Spider-Man. Yeah, everyone from your great Aunt Ethel to your slap-happy grandpappy knew exactly who Batman was. But this film made everyone feel like perhaps we didn't know Batman as well as we thought. There were a lot of folks who weren't exactly on board with this grim depiction of Batman, and that's where the controversy comes in. While most people dug this darker Dark Knight, many others did not. Given the grim depiction of Batman and the overall violence of the film, there was lots of pearl clutching and tons of parents groups whose outrage was electrified to atomic levels. But hey, controversy creates cash, and while some people did not like this film, the rest of the world certainly did, and welcomed it with open arms and open wallets. It grossed $411 million at the box office to counter a $48 million budget. To say this film did well would be an understatement, and that's not even counting merchandise, which was everywhere. In the summer of '89, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing Batman something. Batman simply took over that summer, to the point where it was actually called Batmania. The Prince song Bat Dance was #1 on the singles charts, and 1 out of every 3 people you saw would be wearing a Batman t-shirt. And people who didn't really give a darn about Batman suddenly did. But why? What made this film so culturally impactful? Because it was, and it still is. It raised the bar for summer blockbusters and pretty much set the standard. But again, why? I guess it was just the right thing at the right time. It was clear that the world was ready for a Batman movie, whether it knew it or not. And at this time, superhero movies weren't really a thing. Oh, sure, there was the Superman film series, but that's really about it. And superheroes had been represented in live-action television shows, but that's not really the same thing, is it? The concept of a live-action superhero movie was a relatively new thing. And given how poorly Superman 4 was received, it was quite a risky thing, too. But long shots do come through. And oftentimes it's not just what you do, but how you do it. And Batman was just done right. And therefore it made superhero movies a tangible genre. And in that genre, Batman is still regarded as one of the best, if not the best. And what's interesting is that this movie has long since been given a few unofficial names. And people hardly ever refer to it as just Batman, which of course is its title. Yeah, no shit. It's usually always referred to as 89 Batman or Batman 89 or Tim Burton's Batman. It's never just called Batman, even though out of all the Batman films there's been since, it's the only one that's simply called Batman. So giving this film such differential titles is a little unnecessary. Yeah, you're just adding extra steps. Just call it Batman. There's no other movie called Batman. We know what film you're talking about. But I guess people have such a reverence for this movie that they find it necessary to call it stuff like 89 Batman or Tim Burton's Batman, something to separate it from the other Batman films. Films, mind you, that never really recaptured the Bat magic that this film had. Now, I know that's arguable and everybody has their own opinion, but there's no denying that Batman was an extremely important film, one whose impact is still felt today. It was a phenomenon. It was a movie that people went batshit crazy for. Excuse the pun. And I don't believe that it's too much of a stretch to say there hasn't been any movie since to drum up such excitement. Sure, there's been movies that people have been excited about since then, but I truly believe that we will not see anything like Batmania ever again. Batman was just the right movie at just the right time.
Somos la nueva galleta. Toda la fuerza de esta poderosa galleta de chocolate deliciosamente rellena. Galleta.
Enjoy the magic of Christmas Day on BBC One. At 6, Michael Keaton is Batman, Jack Nicholson is the Joker, and Kim Basinger is amazed.
It's also worth pointing out, Batman being such a big film, it was released on terrestrial television in 2 years instead of the usual 3. Batman 1989 wasn't just a movie, it was a cultural phenomenon. It marked a turning point for superheroes in films, proving that darkness and depth could resonate with audiences just as much as camp and colour. The hype surrounding the film's release was a testament to the power of reinvention and the legacy of the Dark Knight. So here's the Scottish Geek Guy with his thoughts on Batman 89.
So Tim Burton's 1989 Batman. I'd never actually watched the 4K of that, and the kids had never actually seen the original Batman, so I thought, well, let's force the kids to watch Batman. None of them enjoyed it that much. I think the oldest gave up fairly quickly and just went up to a room to watch Vampire Diaries. The younger two stuck with it. It's kind of aged fairly well. It's still a good movie. I know for a lot of people, the Michael Keaton Batman, the 1989 Batman, is their Batman. For me, my Batman is actually Batman Forever. I think it's linked to, you know, the age you are and, you know, the time that you see these Batman movies. So like Batman Forever came out in what, like 94 or 95. So I would have been like 10 or 12 or something. So that's actually been my Batman at the time, as opposed to the Michael Keaton ones. And then, you know, we won't get into the George Clooney one. Excuse me.
Vicky Vale.
Hi. Bruce Wayne.
And what do you do for a living?
I'd like you to handle this operation personally.
Me? Nice outfit.
Hold on a second. I can't make it then either. I've got a very important meeting today.
Don't kill me! Don't kill me! Don't kill me, man! What are you? A Batman.
Lieutenant, is there a 6-foot bat in Gotham City?
Alfred, let's go shopping.
Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker.
I feel a little drunk. And you're not anything.
Hey, one drink and I'm flying.
Wing freak terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me.